Welcome to the very first episode of Let's Talk Travel with the Pretty Wanderer. I'm the host, Fatima Barnes. Super excited because this podcast will be all things travel, which is something I truly love. I want to give you guys an experience. I'll give tips, discuss hot topics in the travel community, take questions from you, my listeners, interview some dope special guests, and so much more. I want you to leave inspired. So whether you are already a pro at traveling or you're aspiring to travel more, there will be something for you. Okay, some of you may have been following me for a while, but there are some people who do not know me. And so I would like to do a quick intro of myself so you can understand who I am and where the vision came from. I am a 30-year-old avid traveler. What I would like to consider myself as a travel enthusiast. Is something that I love. It is a priority in my life. I'm also a wife to my amazing husband, a dog mom, entrepreneur, and a corporate woman, y'all. So my hands are always pretty full. I feel my purpose is to inspire my community and those around me, and even more, to get out there and see the world. Traveling this world has no doubt changed me for the better, and I'd love for people to experience that, and I love to be a part in people wanting to experience that, because there is no doubt that traveling changes you for the better. Okay, so now let's officially get into the show. It's going to be a great show, y'all, today. I promise you. I have a dope travel tip for y'all, a special guest. I got a couple of questions I can't wait to answer, and the giveaway opportunity that I discussed on my social media handles. And so in this episode, it's going to be called Let's Talk Culture, because we're going to have some dope dialogue surrounding that. But first, I'm going to go on to my travel tip, or what I like to say, a tip from my little luggage of tips, And so this is where today I really kind of got to give you guys a 2-for-1. And part of that is because some people don't know me and they're new to anything, The Pretty Wanderer, but then there's some that have been following me for a while. And so I'm going to kind of bring the new people up to speed while refreshing some of my followers from the past already on a topic that I speak heavily on. But then I have a new tip for everyone that I haven't discussed yet. And so what I want to talk about is, if you follow me, you know how I feel about the travel hack of using travel credit cards for your benefit. I have definitely, no doubt, have traveled for free or almost free to so many places like Paris and London and Barcelona, and the list goes on. And so I am an avid believer of that. It is probably one of the most effective ways to travel hack. And so if you have not been following me, I will put the link in the description to link you to that YouTube video in which I discussed it. It's about 15 minutes long, but it is a lot of great information, and I definitely feel like you should know about it if you have not already heard about using it for your benefit. I know credit cards can be a little bit scary, but this right here will definitely show you how to flip it and use it for your good. So that's the refresher for that. But today's tip is a little bit different. Haven't discussed it yet. It's one tip that I've used on quite a few occasions. You do have to be careful using it, and I'll get to that. But I definitely think that you guys should know. So this is what I like to call accessing hidden city tickets for flights. This saves you a lot of money on flights. It's called hidden city tickets. HIDDEN. I know I'm country, so if you didn't get that, it's hidden city tickets. Now you ask, what is that? Hidden city tickets is when you buy the flight to a cheaper destination that has a connection to where you actually want to go, and then you get off the plane at the layover destination, which is where you actually want to be. And so I've done this a few times, and it works. You do have to be careful. It's not illegal, but it is highly frowned upon by carriers, by the airline carriers. And if you have your frequent flyer account attached to your ticket, they could suspend some of your benefits. So you don't want to do it too often. You don't want to get caught. In fact, I recommend when you do this, not even attaching your loyalty account to it, just so they don't have a record of you doing it on so many occasions. And so I can kind of break down an example of how it works. So for instance, if I want to fly, and I'm just throwing out an example. If I want to fly to Phoenix from Memphis. That's my airport. And let's say the flight from Memphis to Phoenix is $341. But on American Airlines, the flight from Memphis to LAX with a layover in Phoenix is $228. You will book the flight from Memphis to LAX and get off in Phoenix, which is where you actually want to be. And you've officially just saved yourself about, let's see, 113 bucks, 113, 114 bucks. I'm doing it off the top of my head. Not the best, but I think that's about $113. And you've saved that much on your flight and you got to your destination. So you can kind of use Skyscanner to kind of figure out the different options depending on where you want to go and the airline. Even go on Google Flights and just kind of play around with it to book those flights. After so long, you kind of get used to knowing what kind of flight, what kind of area has a layover in a certain city or not. The more you fly, you really do kind of start to get used to that. I do recommend that when you do this, you be flexible. Let it just be something somewhere you're just going just to have a good time. Maybe not for like a wedding or something like that. And even if you do it, have a backup plan, just because if you do fly a lot, you do know that airlines can sometimes switch that layover destination on you at the last minute or whatever. Something happens and they got to redo your whole flight. So that does happen, which is why I recommend you kind of got to be flexible, or you need to have a backup plan. But it is really a cool way to save money on your flights. You just kind of got to learn the main hubs per airline. Like if you do fly a lot, you do know that Atlanta is typically for Delta, American Airlines is typically Dallas, United is typically Houston, and so forth. And you kind of learn that a lot of times if you come from Memphis to Vegas, you kind of know you're going to stop in Denver at some point, and there's just certain destinations that you get used to. So it's kind of the same thing. You got to keep practicing and keep learning about it. But it's almost kind of playing the standby game a little bit, except for guaranteed seats. And so I do have one other tip for that. If you do that, I already said don't attach your airline ticket to it, but I also do not recommend you checking a bag, for the simple fact that when you get to your layover destination, they're going to check your bag all the way to the final destination. So you don't want to check a bag. You want to do a carry-on only, and you want to have that carry-on with everything that you need in there so you can just leave the airport as soon as you get to your destination. So that is my travel tip for the first episode. I've already given you an example in which it saves you about $100+ on a ticket. I know it's worked. I've done it quite a few times. And I just say, check it out. If you try it, let me know. Send me a message. Let me know how it works out for you. Now, we've got to take a quick break, but when we get back, we are going to talk with the amazing Marianne, aka M.Bella. Have you thought about starting your own podcast? Well, listen, honey, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. You can't beat free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's huge. That's right. No minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So get that phone out, download the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's right, anchor.fm to get started. Hey everybody, we're back to the show. I'm so excited. I have a very special guest here today. M.Bella, my big sister from another mister. I've learned so much from her. We've traveled together. We've cried together. She's my girl. So glad that she's here and stepped out of her comfort zone. Thank you for coming. How are you feeling, boo?
I'm feeling awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Fatima.
I'm so glad that you're here. Like I was saying, it just was only fitting that you were the first guest on the show. I could not imagine anybody else actually doing this right now. So, and for those who
Oh,
don't know, she is my travel inspiration.
oh, bless you. Thank you so much.
You're so
That is
humble.
so
I love it.
sweet.
So, so Bella, can you tell the listeners a little bit about you?
Sure, of course. So I am a travel enthusiast and a lover of life and culture. And you guys will get to hear about that later. Also a software developer and entrepreneur, and I currently reside in Texas. Was previously a makeup artist, but then transitioned into other aspects of business. Um, and I, again, love to travel.
Yes, you really do, girl. You've been somewhere everywhere.
Yeah,
you,
this
you have
is
really been somewhere
you too.
everywhere.
It takes one to know one.
Exactly. So, okay, I'll say this. A lot of people don't really know where my love for travel really began. And for me, it started as really a child because when I was a child, my grandfather would, I lived in Oakland, California, and then I didn't move
Mhm.
to Mississippi till I was 10. So my
Oh
mom
wow.
lived in Mississippi. So my grandparents would drive us every summer to go to Mississippi to visit my mom, and we would
Hmm.
get in this van and drive 3,000 miles, and he would want to stop in every state and teach us something about the state, girl. And my cousins, they
Oh,
dreaded it, but I loved it. And I really
that's so
could
awesome.
say that that's kind of where it began. And so I would like join every organization in high school and every other school just to like travel. Like if it was something that they travel,
Hmm.
I did show choir, baby, and I cannot sing, but I joined show choir so I could travel. I did band for like during middle
Hmm.
school just so I can travel. Even in college, I did things so I can travel. So, where
Hmm.
can you say that your kind of spark and love for travel really began?
So, like, my love for travel started like at a very early age. I remember going on excursions with school. Um, there was one particular excursion we went to. It's called the Isle of Wight, and you literally have to take a ferry from the mainland in London um, to this island. And how old was I? I was in the sixth grade. Yeah. So I was like the sixth grade and the fifth graders. I think we all went together. No, I was in the fifth grade. I think my brother was in sixth. Yeah. So that was like one of our first like early experiences with the school. And then also we had family that lived in Amsterdam. That's only a 45-minute flight from London. So we would go there for the holidays and spend Christmas with them and also get to experience their culture because they're just, they live kind of similar to Londoners. So being around so many different cultures and ethnicities, it was just hard to ignore where these people came from. And it made me curious that, okay, one day I want to be able to go explore their countries and do what they do.
Wow, that is dope. Like, I never really realized that that's where your love for traveling kind of really began. So it is a really similar story.
Yeah, it really is.
Um, Yeah. And then for those who don't know, you just mentioned that you lived in London,
Yeah.
and that had to be a great experience. So you haven't always lived in the US, and so can you talk about some other places that you lived and what that experience was like, especially in London?
Yeah, no, definitely. I can touch on London. So I was actually born and raised in London. I moved to America in 2000. So I've been in America 20 years officially. Well, actually, it'll be 20 years in September. So almost 20 years. I
Almost.
know, right? So my perspective of London is the world's melting pot. So I consider New York also another melting pot, but to me, London is special. Like, I'm a city girl at heart. I'm definitely like go with the flow or I can be fast paced. And growing up in Europe, it definitely makes you grow up faster because I mean you have to, especially the young adults, we would hop on the train and the buses and a heartbeat to get to where we need to get to. And we did have very efficient or a very efficient transit system at that time, and we still do. So yeah, I'm definitely used to living a fast paced life. However, I do appreciate like the chill vibes of living in the South. Texas got me chopped and screwed, like their music. Shout out to DJ Screw. But no, like I again, I love both ends of the spectrum, but living in London was definitely a wonderful experience, and it definitely opened my eyes and really shaped me into the person I am today. And plus I go back frequently because my dad does live in London still, so I go at least once or twice a year to go visit him, and I also have family there too. And I've also lived in Ghana for a year, so I go there frequently as well.
Wow, girl. So you know I love London. And that
Yes.
was one of those places that I've been to
Yep.
that I wish that I would have had more time. And so we've always talked about I need to go back with you
Mm-hmm.
because I really need to experience that, honey,
Yes,
because
come.
I,
I'll take
I
you to
just
the
did not
ends.
have enough time. Yes, and every time you go, I see your pictures. I'd be like, "Oh my God, I want to go back and experience like the nightlife side of it and
Yes.
stuff," because I didn't get to experience that piece.
Uh-huh.
But I see what you mean about London, girl. I enjoyed myself
That's
there.
good.
So you mentioned living in Africa too.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people don't know, this is one of my beautiful Ghanaian sisters,
Yes.
and she lives in Ghana.
Go
And
Black
so
Stars.
I exactly. I actually plan to go to Africa this year. You know that is a dream of mine.
Yeah, I'm so
Hopefully
happy
Corona
for
don't
you.
stop
I wish it was
me.
Ghana, but it's okay.
I
I
know.
know.
That's
You know what?
definitely
I'm gonna
next
take
on
you to
the
Ghana.
list.
That's what's gonna happen. I'm
Yes,
taking you to
I need
Ghana.
to go with
Yes,
you
you
so I can
can't
get
go
the
until you go with me.
real,
Yeah,
exactly, so I get the real
and we have it
experience.
on recorded.
It's on
So I'm
record,
gonna
girl.
hold
You
you to
got
your
me on
word.
tape. I'm going back with
Okay,
you,
good.
girl. I'm going back with you. So living in Africa
Mm-hmm.
before and being Ghanaian,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that when I was growing up, me that I grew up African, I'm African American, and so growing up, they made it seem like you don't want to go to Africa for tourism and
Mm-hmm.
this kind of thing, and they only showed us like the negative
Oh yeah.
side or the kids starving and just horrible, right? But Africa is an extremely beautiful continent. So how does that kind of make you feel when people try to make it seem like it's not really a great place for tourism? Like, what would you say to those people?
So like honestly, it's disheartening when you hear like only the negatives about Africa, and that's typically what is portrayed and displayed on the media.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
rare that you catch stories that highlight the beauty of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's disheartening, but it all boils down to this is what you've been shown. This is how your mind has been conditioned in regards to Africa. So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have that negative connotation until somebody shows you otherwise or you see otherwise. Then you're always gonna think like that. So it's like it's like a catch-22. But I do want to dispel the negative connotations in regards to Africa. It's an awesome place for tourism, especially if you're Black. Um,
Oh,
if
girl,
you're
yes.
Black, you need to go to Africa. I mean, you don't have to go to Ghana. I am gonna. I encourage everybody to start with Ghana, and I would say start with Ghana because there's a lot of things going on in Ghana. It's a great country, of course. South Africa that used to. Then you know what? Let me go back and say that South Africa has always been portrayed. It's like a 50-50 with them. They had apartheid that happened many
Mm-hmm.
years ago, but then they also have this westernized side of South
Mm-hmm.
Africa. So it is more westernized, so people feel more comfortable to go there. But
Mm-hmm.
you can also go to these other countries. Ghana is awesome. I keep
Yes,
plugging
I
in
see.
Ghana. So is Nigeria is great. I've been to Morocco. Egypt is good, but again, people have been conditioned to see negative things about Africa, so they automatically think it's just not a good place. But no, it's not. And I want to take this back to slavery too. I'm kind of gonna dwell on this question because
Mm-hmm.
Africa was never poor to begin with, and we aren't poor. You know, they came and took our people, they took our gold,
Mm-hmm.
they took our diamonds, and then they brainwashed us to believe that it's not for us. It was never for us. But,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
again, it goes back to what you're saying, watching the kids on TV and seeing, how you can feed a kid for 50 cents a day and they have the swollen bellies with the
Mm-hmm.
flies around them. This is the
Yes,
picture of
girl.
Africa you have. So it's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to go there. I'm not associated with that, even though they label us as African American and they put the African before American. But then it's like they
Mm-hmm.
backhandedly say that, oh, you don't want to go there. This is what it looks like. So
Right.
it's crazy. So, what I want to tell everybody is that try and find out exactly where you're from. Try to find out what your roots are. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe do an ancestry test or, ask
Yeah, the
questions.
African.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They have one specific to your African DNA, or you can do,
Yep.
the one that just finds out, what countries you're from, period. But if you want to know what tribe, it drills down all the way to the tribe you're from. You should do that and find
Yep.
out where you're from and try to go and explore and find out, more about your ancestors. I think that once you have the knowledge about Africa, it's going to make you more intrigued and you're going to want to go more, through a lot of things that have happened in the last 2 to 3 years with the movie Black Panther. I saw like this new wave
Mm-hmm.
of people that were interested in Africa. And to me, it was exciting just seeing, a lot of African Americans embrace their African side. We're in the dashikis
Yes.
and Ankara more. I thought it was awesome.
Yes.
And I had so many of my friends that are not African, that are African American, that asked me, lots of questions about Africa. But they became curious, and it
Mm-hmm.
made me happy. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then now you see so many different celebrities going to Africa and experiencing, the slave castles that we have there, because we still have there, not just in
Yes.
Ghana, but in other African countries too. And also just getting down to the root of, who they are and learning, where they come from. And so I see the connection that we're formulating together as far as like Africans and African Americans. And I feel like if we unite as a people together, we can do so much and we can do great things. I definitely see the strides that have been made so far because, 10 years ago, people were not trying to go to Africa. Now I have so
Truly
many,
was
I
it.
have so many
Mm-hmm.
friends that are not African asking me, they want to go to Ghana with me. They want to, experience the culture. And they want to go see what the slave castle is. They want to go do the things the locals do. They love jollof rice. Who doesn't like jollof rice?
Yes.
So
Is that what your mom made me that time? What
yes,
was that?
yes,
Oh,
yes, she did, and we'll
it was
make you some
so
more
good.
with some plantains and some suya. So yeah, we got you, girl.
That
um,
is so
yeah, no,
true.
definitely, and just like to touch base, on the people, influential people that have been to Africa. So like the last three sitting presidents, except for the current one, I won't mention who he is, but Obama's been in Ghana, Bush has been in Ghana, Clinton has been in Ghana, and even Dr. Martin Luther King has been to Ghana. Um,
Oh, so
exactly, so dope. And if that doesn't tell you that Ghana's doing something right, then go and find out for yourself. There's a reason why all the last sitting presidents go to Ghana. They don't go to most of the African nations, but the ones I've mentioned, they've all been to Ghana. So go explore our country. It's really good. And what's important to me about culture and countries is how you're embraced by the locals. We show love to everybody that comes in. There's certain countries that you're going to travel to that you might not experience that same type of love. So
mm-hmm.
you have to be selective
Mm-hmm.
about where you go. I'm sorry, I keep plugging in Ghana. I'm done. I'm sorry, guys.
Girl, you love your country. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You love your country.
Yes,
Nothing
I
wrong with that.
do.
And so you just said, you was talking about the different countries how you could be welcomed here, may not be welcomed here, and I've kind of talked about that in the past too. But backtracking though, uh, how many countries have you actually been to? Like, since we're talking about it, but like, let's let the listeners know why I chose you too, because
So I have
homegirls
been.
caught flights.
So I, what? I'm not at 20 yet. I've been to 18 countries. I've
Yes.
been to 18. It's honestly, if I wasn't going to London every year and Ghana frequently, it probably would be more than that. But because my dad lives in
Mm-hmm.
London and, I do my due diligence as his daughter, his favorite, don't tell my brother, to go see him once a year, probably will be a little bit more than that. But yeah, I'm at 18 right now. So
Girl.
For all my people that love to travel, just start with one. If you haven't been out the United States, start with one. Start with something that's close to the United States, just so you can get your feet wet and start getting acclimated to
Mm-hmm.
different environments and cultures. And then you can start going, stretching out your journey and making it further. Then before you know it, you'll be on them long haul flights that are like 15, 20
Yes.
hours.
Yes, child. I know about those flights.
Woo! Lord, more wine, please.
Yes. That's good. That's actually really good advice because I always kind of tell people that same thing whenever I talk about like just getting your feet wet, even if you don't have a passport, you're just going to
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't really feel like you're here when you go to Puerto Rico
Yeah.
and you don't need a passport, or some of the U.S.
I
Virgin Islands, you don't need a passport. Like, get your
ex-
feet wet, do a
exactly.
cruise, if
Right.
you have to, like, just start with it, and then you'll see that you'll want to start going off further and further and further, because that's kind of how it started for me as well.
Yeah,
So that's
definitely.
really great advice. That's what I always tell people.
Yeah, you
And
gotta crawl before you walk. So definitely.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so if you're not used to really traveling internationally, you don't
Mm-hmm.
want your first time to be on a 20-hour
No,
flight
that's gonna
to
be like,
Bali either,
yeah,
right?
no, that's gonna be
Hmm.
too excruciating, and
Yes,
you're never gonna want to travel again. It's just like if you
exactly.
like, you don't travel frequently, and then you try to do standby, and then you have a bad
Ex-
experience.
exactly.
You're never gonna want to do standby again. I've met so many people that have just ruled out standby, and I was like, no, it's like gambling. You gotta know how to shuffle.
You just gotta know how to do it, and that just
Yeah.
comes with experience. Yeah,
Right.
and that's exactly right. That's why I always say, like, it's, start Caribbean or Mexico or
Exactly.
Canada
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Get your feet wet, understand, because the further off you go, it's different.
Yeah,
and
it
and like
is.
with us, we're used to long flights
Yeah,
now, but
exactly.
I can only imagine if that would have been, like, I think my first 20-hour flight may have been to the Philippines.
Oh
And I
yeah.
can only imagine if that was like my first experience
Oh
traveling
yeah.
internationally, how that could have made me feel. So you're exactly right.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true. That's a long flight.
yeah, that's a long flight, and
Mm-hmm.
if you're not used to that,
Yeah. I had to
mm-mm.
do 20 hours going to South Africa, and that was woo!
Yes,
Yeah,
girl,
that was
them
that
flights
was a
are
journey.
long. It is. Those flights are long, so people
Yeah.
don't understand. Like, so you're right. I love that you said that, because that's one thing I always speak on.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
what was one of your most memorable places, and what are some of those experiences like?
Okay, so one of my most memorable places. Oh, this is hard.
It is very hard when
This
you've
is
been to almost 20 countries.
right. Oh, okay, let's see. All right, so I would say for me, I loved Egypt. Egypt was amazing. I also loved Jordan. Jordan was great. But out of those two, definitely Israel. Israel was sentimental for me. Because of my faith in Christ. That was just the epitome of all trips. Like
Wow.
nothing will be able to top Israel. Nothing. Yeah.
Wow. Can you tell me a little bit more about that experience? Because, girl, I remember when you was on that trip, I was living through your pictures on IG and your
Oh,
stories, and I felt like I was there, honey. Didn't you get to, like, see Jesus's tomb, or
yes, I went.
like, what was that
Yeah,
like?
that was like, there's something that happens to you, and it's really hard to describe. It's like something happens to your ether, your spirit. Like you feel, it's like something
Wow.
confirms within you that you know that Jesus was here. Like this is real. Everything, and then
Wow.
also too, what was just amazing is that everything in the Bible came to life because I was able to do like a tour through historical biblical landmarks. So we started in Egypt and then went through Jordan and went to Israel, which is that's literally how it happened in the Bible. That's the Exodus. So you exited out of
Oh,
Egypt,
wow.
they got to Jordan, and after Jordan, they got to Israel, the promised land. So it was amazing. I got to, of course, see the Giza pyramids in Egypt. That was awesome. I think the best thing in Egypt that happened to me is that I was able to climb Mount Sinai, which is the same mountain that Moses
Moses.
got the Ten Commandments
Oh,
from. God. So being able to climb that
That
mountain and
is
reach
so
the top, it was a journey. That hike was no joke. I was like, how old was Moses again? Because he would be considered the elderly in our time. I know
wasn't he
they lived
old?
longer
Yeah.
back then, but like, today he would be considered an elderly. I think he was like in the 70s or 80s. I can't, don't quote me on that. But yeah, it was definitely an experience to be able to follow those footsteps of those great biblical pillars. And then going to Jordan and experiencing Petra. Petra is awesome. It was beautiful. It's so picturesque. Um, I met some really wonderful people in Jordan. I love Jordan. I can't wait to go back. Uh, and the people are definitely very embracing and welcoming and warm. The food was awesome. I had some great falafels in Egypt. And
Ooh,
then,
girl.
going to, yes, the falafels are good. So if you go to Egypt or the Middle East, make sure you get a falafel because the falafels in America are not, no, you got to go to the source.
Yeah, no, you got to go to the
You
source.
got to go to
You
the
got
source.
to.
It's like, when you go to Europe, don't try to eat Latino Mexican food. It's not going to be good. Like,
Not gonna be the
yeah,
same.
you want to eat that in Texas and in Mexico. But so yeah, that was awesome. And then also too in Petra, so they filmed the movie Indiana Jones, that trail when he was on the trail,
Hmm.
and I think he was being chased, and he was in that wagon, and there was like a donkey leading them. I'm not sure if you remember
Oh,
that scene from the movie, and then there was like that.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah, he was
about.
like in this cave, like mountain type thing. So that's
Mhm.
Petra. Um, so that was awesome. And that's one of the seven wonders of the world, along with the Giza pyramids, and then reaching Israel. So it was like a 3-week conquest, and it's the best 3 weeks of my life. I can't wait to do something like that again. Um, get into Israel. Get into Israel is just Israel is absolutely beautiful. I don't think the beauty of Israel is truly highlighted. And it's crazy because when
Hmm.
I got back, I'm like, okay, I never just hear anything about Israel. When you hear about people going to Israel, it's like typically like the older people, that are
Hmm.
serving in church and, have given their all to God. Not to say that's the bad thing. I think it's awesome. But you don't hear about young individuals
Yeah,
going to Israel. It's
yeah.
typically people that are, in ministry or, the church does a big trip with everybody
Right.
in the church. So being able to go and be young in the spirits and, the tomb of Jesus, went to Nazareth, went to Bethlehem. Nazareth was where he, was raised. Bethlehem was
Hmm.
where he was born.
Born.
That was amazing. There's certain things, of course, they've tried to the motives behind some of the things that some people would do as far as like trying to make money off of certain landmarks and stuff. You have to look past that. I think
Hmm.
the best place for me was where Jesus was baptized at the Jordan River.
Oh,
So it
yes.
literally that where he was baptized literally is halfway down the river. One side is for Jordan and the other side is for Israel. So like they literally share that, you know, that
Really?
piece of land. So one side is Jordan. On one bank of the river is Jordan, and the other bank it's Israel. So, but there was nothing but doves. I have never seen so many free range doves just flying around, just
Wow.
doves everywhere. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so like
Biblical.
this is so real. Like, the doves is a representation of the Holy Spirit. So
Right.
just to see all those doves and they were just so beautiful, just all that's how you like you just, when you as soon as you get off of like the bus or a cab, whatever you're in, you can feel the presence of God. Like, wow, this is actually real. So again, it will
Girl.
always be sentimental to me. I didn't get to do everything, but I tried to do most. I even got baptized in the Jordan River, which is the same
Oh
river
my
that Jesus was
God.
baptized in. So yeah, that's a fun fact. I don't think I posted that on social media, but that was definitely dear to me. So I can't wait to go back. Um, I definitely say that's a trip that I would like to make again, but it's definitely a lot of planning involved because it was a long trip and it's a long way from
Hmm.
us. But
Yeah.
if I encourage everybody that is a believer that does have faith in Jesus Christ to, try to find time in your lifetime to make a trip there, especially if you go to church every couple times a month or stream online or
Hmm.
however you pay your due diligence back to God. Try to make time to at least go visit and take the steps that he did and truly get connected to the
Wow.
root of your faith.
Girl, I am amazed.
No.
Like just hearing that experience, I am amazed. Like I cannot wait till I'm in a position where I can take 3 4 weeks, off at a time, and I don't have to answer to anyone totally to
Mm-hmm.
just do something like that and go and make that trip. That sounds like a once in a lifetime experience. Like it really does.
Yes, it was truly,
And
truly awesome.
and on this, is that the trip, honey, that you had a picture that went viral?
Yes, actually, I did.
So let's
That
talk
is
about that. How
so
did that
funny.
feel?
Yes, I actually did have a picture that went viral. So it's a picture that I took in Petra.
Hmm.
Against it's just it's beauty. It's definitely picturesque. A lot of people go there because of, the images that they can get. It's just something that you have to see in person. It's amazing. So I
Hmm.
literally posted it, and then because I think I think they were behind. We're like a day behind over there. I forgot the time zone. Sorry. What
Hmm.
happens? No. We're ahead. We were ahead. Yeah. So I forgot how many hours. I think it was maybe 6 or 7 hours. But either way, I woke up the next day and I just noticed that my notifications were like out the roof. I was like, "What the heck is going on? What's going on?" And then I see a lot of people like the picture on my page. But I was like, "Well, where are these? How did they see this?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I'm looking and I'm like, I see that some of these travel blogs have reposted it, like Black Travel Feed. They had posted the picture on there, and I got so much traffic from that. And then also Black Girls Travel, it was reposted on their site. Their Instagram page. So it was definitely a spiraling effect. And after that, other blogs had picked it up.
Wow.
And I'm just grateful to share my experience and just be an inspiration or inspire somebody to, go out there and see what's in the world. But no, it was definitely a humbling experience.
Yeah, it is. That has to feel good. I never experienced the viral completely, but I
Hmm.
have experienced where my picture got picked up by another travel blog.
Hmm.
It was David and I when we were on the elephant in
Mm.
Thailand, and the elephant picked me up on their
It's a
trunk, and
beautiful
David
picture.
was like kissing me. Yes, I did not know that certain travel blogs had picked that up as well,
Hmm.
and put it on their site, and that does kind of make you feel good because it's like, okay, my goal is to inspire other people to want to do, the same thing. So I know I definitely feel you on that. Like I'm sure that made you feel really good because you felt like that was your purpose anyway. Like it's a part of your greater purpose.
Right, definitely. And that was just a piece of it. So just being able to share that and, encourage somebody to just step out of their comfort zone and do something that you never thought you'd do in your life,
Yeah,
that
that is
isn't
so
too
true.
much of a risk.
Right.
Go for it.
Speaking of risk, okay, let's switch gears on this for a second. Speaking of risk, you have traveled solo before, which is something that I have been wanting to do, and I actually still plan to do it. And if it were not for Corona, I would have definitely done it by now. But
Hmm.
you have done a solo. You've traveled solo before. What was that like?
So traveling solo for me was really dope. I've been to Dubai solo. I've been to Qatar solo. I love the Middle East, as you guys can tell by now.
Yeah.
Love the Middle East. But it was actually really dope. I actually felt safer in those countries than I do in America. Um,
Talk
and it's
about it.
right because I was definitely, Dubai was 2016, 2015, 2016, I think. Um, and I was apprehensive about going that far alone, um, and just being out there alone and doing activities on my own. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. That's the year I went to Ghana, so I
Hmm.
flew through Dubai to get to Ghana, and I extended my stay for an extra couple of days, so I was able to do the safari. I met so many
Hmm.
nice people. I mean, the people there are nice. Even the
Oh,
staff at the
yes.
hotel, very accommodating and nice. Because most of those people that work those jobs, they're immigrants too, so they're just trying to make a
Hmm.
means. And it's a very clean country. The Muslim nations, they're it's very clean and structured.
Hmm.
So you're not gonna there's nothing to be afraid of. And after I went to Dubai, I was like, okay, this is all right. I can go Qatar now. And I actually have a friend that I grew up with in London, that is a midwife in Qatar. So I was able
Oh,
to,
wow.
hang out with her for a bit. But I mean, I was taking Ubers at all times of the night and morning and days. It was so safe. Like, it's so safe. It's absolutely safe, and it's beautiful. Those people know what they're doing with their money.
Yes,
They have
yes.
built Dubai and Qatar up. I call Qatar mini Dubai. It has Dubai potential. It's just not as big as Dubai
Right.
or capitalized as Dubai. And I think they were supposed to host the FIFA World Cup. I think that's supposed to be this year, but not sure if that's going to happen anymore. And I know that probably would have brought a lot of traffic to Qatar.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of commercials about the Qatar Airways on,
Yeah, I see it all the time.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. They're trying to compete with Emirates. So, yeah, definitely take a trip to Dubai. I will say that Emirates Airlines is more nicer and lenient with their supplies.
More our speed, in other words,
Right,
more
exactly. I'd
our
have to
speed.
ask you 10 times for a glass of
Mhm.
wine. But no, definitely I would encourage people to go, places solo. Like sometimes you can sit there and you can wait for people.
Mm,
Sometimes it's just good to just get up and go,
that's a word.
you know?
That's a word.
And you're on your own dime, of course. You're on your time. So, you plan your day out and you do what is in your best interest. If you
Hmm.
want to go to the museum, if you want to go sightsee, go to the markets. That's what I did when, I was in the Middle East. I did excursions. I did what the locals did and I also did what the tourists did. So
Hmm.
try to get the best of both
And
worlds.
you're right. You're right. It's extremely safe over. Like I now that I've been to Dubai, I
Mm-hmm.
went with two girls, but now that I've been there, I could so see that I could have done that solo and been, no, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
enjoyed going with the girls, but I'm saying I felt safe enough that I could so go solo. Like you said, I felt safer there than I feel riding around here in Memphis most of the time. So,
Girl,
yeah.
especially in Memphis, child.
So, like I feel you. Like I really do. That I think that is so dope. And I think it seems just like this empowerment kind of thing to do a solo trip, which is
Yeah.
why I really want to do it. And I will. I plan on it. I definitely plan on it.
Yes, I definitely want to do it more often. And just to different places. Of course, it's, places in the U.S. I've traveled to alone, but
Hmm. Yeah.
going to a different country, of
Country.
course, you're
Hmm.
gonna have it's a little different, especially after you watch. You've seen movies like Taken and Hostel. Like
Yeah.
you, don't watch those guys; they're bad for you.
Girl, that is so dope. Okay, so another thing I'm going to switch gears on before I move on to the travel tea hot topic. And that is, for those that don't know, you are extremely gorgeous. Like
Oh, God bless
gorgeous,
you.
gorgeous, gorgeous. And you're single right now. And so
Oh, she just outed
but
me.
but the reason why I say that, it's a method to my madness, is when it comes
Hmm.
to your a future relationship,
Hmm.
because I know that
Hmm.
guys probably that like, have they seen you? So when it
Hmm.
comes to a future relationship, how important is that for your significant other to either travel or at least respect your travels and the way you feel about traveling? How important is that to you?
So for me, it's very important. Traveling is embedded in me. It's something I've been doing since I was a child, and I still have to do because of family that live abroad.
Hmm.
I wish I had the leisure of saying that, I can just hop on a flight,
Hmm.
a 2 hour flight to New York and, be able to see my
Hmm.
dad or my granny. I have to travel,
Hmm.
10 hours on one flight and 15 hours trying to get to Ghana to see my granny. Actually, it's even longer than that
Hmm.
because I have to take another flight from Accra to Kumasi. So, for me per se, it would definitely be a deal breaker. It's something that of course, I love to do. And because of my family circumstances, it's something that I have to do. And it's something that I think everybody should, try to do in their
Hmm.
lifetime because, you know, you can only see so much of your current surroundings. After a while, you would have known every crevice in the corner in the street that you hit.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, there's more to explore. We're in a day and age of technology. Back then, before technology, these people were taking camels and
Mm-hmm.
wagons or whatever they could. But now we have planes and, make use of that.
Yes.
Go out there and see the world. There's so much to see. And as you continue to travel, you start to have compassion
Yes.
for people and you start to have more understanding. And it's like your mind has been like awakened and opened
Yes.
because you're now just not looking at life through your lens. You're
Mm-hmm.
able to see how other people are living and you have more again understanding for why certain individuals may act the way they act, they
Mm-hmm.
may talk the way they talk, they eat certain foods. Now you have a true understanding of culture.
Oh, girl, you just did. I couldn't have said it more beautifully myself. Like, honestly, I do feel you. That would kind of have been a deal breaker for me in my relationship. Traveling was with my husband. Traveling was established early on in our relationship,
That's
as best
awesome.
as we could with the funds that we
Mm-hmm.
had. Maybe not at the level that we had,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel you. Like, I think I love that my husband is so open minded, and we're both such open minded people
Yes.
because like you said, traveling. And then you brought me onto the next point of culture. So you and I have always pretty much been on the same wavelength as the type of traveler that we are. We love our IG photos too, but culture, the experience, learning about where we are, that's always been important to us. And so that's why I will always say, like, we have got to, I definitely want to go with you to Ghana or wherever because we are on that same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
And so that segues perfectly to the travel tea, as I like to call it, travel tea, hot topic for the show. And
Mm-hmm.
that is, it has to do with culture, but a traveler versus a tourist. And so that's a
Mm-hmm.
topic in the travel community that you see a lot of heavy debates on. And I would love to kind of hear your thoughts on that because for me, I feel like a traveler is they're like us. We go, we want the experience, we want to experience the culture, we want to learn. It's just as much educational for us. But at the same time, yes, we want these bomb IG photos and videos and stuff too. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let's just face it. I like to look back on the memories of where I've been and where I've gone, and I can show these to my future children one day or whatever. And so that is important to me. But then you have some people that are tourists. They go to these places. They want that photo and that's all they care about. They don't really care about learning about where they're at. They want to eat what they eat here only. They want to eat fast food there because they don't want to try these different things, or they only come. They want to go shop and buy stuff that you can buy here and that kind of thing. And no shade or no judging to that type of traveler or tourist, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. But that's really not how I like to operate when I travel. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because I think culture and understanding culture is important. I think that is kind of where it begins. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, everything you said is absolutely true and facts. So for me, I feel like travelers like truly immerse themselves into the country that they're visiting.
Mm-hmm.
They have self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
about where they're at, and they have a more considerate view of their current surroundings and what their people are doing, how the people navigate, how the people carry themselves. They're very vigilant
Mm-hmm.
to what is going on
Mm-hmm.
currently. Now, as for a tourist, tourists to me are individuals that are like our service level. They're there for one thing, they have a motive, and they're there for that specific motive, and after that, they don't care about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a day and age. I'm not saying that everyone is like
Mm-hmm.
this, but we are, in a
Mm-hmm.
pictorial type of world now, how everything is just very visual,
Mm-hmm.
and how we have instant gratification to almost anything we
Mm-hmm.
want. And who doesn't want to go to these exotic places and take these beautiful exotic
Mm-hmm.
pictures, and not look good on their IG? But there also is, the beauty behind those pictures. And for me, going to these countries and trying, I say, do not knock something until you've tried it.
Mm-hmm.
At least try something once and then you can knock it.
Okay. I love that.
And if you're not open minded, you're going to be going to these places and ordering burger and fries. Like, how many burger and fries do you want in your lifetime?
Okay.
Okay. Like, immerse yourself in the culture, try the delicacies, see different things that you wouldn't probably would have thought of seeing in your lifetime, and just don't be complacent.
Mm.
That's a traveler to me. A traveler is not
Right.
complacent. A tourist is, because again, they have one specific goal, one specific thing that they're trying to accomplish, and then they move on. They don't really have a genuine interest of the country or the culture that they're
Mm-hmm.
currently in, or for that time being. So I say be open
Oh.
minded with everything. You have to have an open mind. Again, don't knock it until you try it once. Try it once, and if you don't like it, okay, then move on. As I can speak about this experience. I went to Prague, Czechoslovakia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was it the best experience? No. We made it the best experience, but it's not somewhere that I would want to go
Mm-hmm.
again. So I tried it. It was cool. On to the
Right.
next. There's a lot of countries that I think I'll be okay on not going to, but there also are a lot of countries that I do, still want to go to. So again, try something once. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, move on.
Right. And that's why I really I know the theme, and the reason why I chose you too is because I know how important other culture is
Mm-hmm.
to us. And that's why this
Mm-hmm.
was a topic for us, because of I know how you feel about it as well. And I always tell people, a lot of people sometimes they see like my pictures, and I'm sure you get this a lot too. They see that we're at these
Mm-hmm.
places on these pictures in these exotic countries or whatever, so have you, and they see us posting them, and that's all that they can think of at that time. And then they don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
like, especially if they're not used to traveling, and especially internationally, they don't say,
Mm-hmm.
like, they don't know that, wait a minute, hold on, you did this there, you did that. Like, it's deeper than me getting that picture. You see that picture,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
always preach to people, like, you need to have an open mind if you want to start traveling like that. If you don't have anything else, even, hey, I would say you need to have more of an open mind than anything else when it pertains to
Mm-hmm.
international traveling, because people always ask, like, what should I do, what should I do if I want to start? And I'm like, first you need to learn to have a more open mind, be open to the
Yes.
experiences, be
Right.
open to where you're going to go. And another thing is
Right.
respecting the culture of where you're going
Yes.
to be.
Self-awareness.
Exactly. Like, you need to research
Yes.
that place as best you
Yes.
can, get an idea of their culture,
Mm-hmm.
understand it as best you can, and be open to it. And be open and understand to the
Yeah.
fact that not everyone is going to think like we think in America. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody does things the way that we do in
Yeah.
America. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
America is
Yeah.
not the end goal. And even from a domestic standpoint, you have a lot of people that have never been down south, because they think
Oh
like
yeah.
it's a whole nother world. If you even think that way about being in your own country, you definitely don't have an open enough
Yeah.
mind to
Uh,
start traveling internationally, because if you think one way of your own country, you haven't even explored that. So I think open mind is critical. And I also think that that's why I think that people or individuals who are actual travelers versus tourists, like you said, I think that's why
mm-hmm.
we become so much more compassionate. We become so much more open minded to other ways of doing things. And I think that is what
Mm-hmm.
I mean when I say that traveling has been educational to me, just as much educational.
Yes,
I feel
definitely.
maybe even more than me sitting in a college for 4 years to get my degree.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, I feel that I've
Mm-hmm.
learned that much
Mm-hmm.
just from traveling the world. And I
Traveling.
and I think that is how
Mm-hmm.
I also look at America, through a different lens as well, when it comes to different
Mm-hmm.
things and
Mm-hmm.
different issues and different social issues, economical issues. I look at it very differently
Mm-hmm.
because I've experienced another way
Mm-hmm.
that it was done. And so, I think a lot of times we've been
Yes.
told our life, America's the best, America's this, America's that. And I'm like, you start to travel more
Mm-hmm.
and you realize, like, there's a lot you can learn from other people.
There's really a lot. And I would like to add to what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying too. That's definitely, it's true. There's so much you can learn from different
Mm-hmm.
cultures. And, as you begin to go to these different countries and learn the whys
Mm-hmm.
and the no's of these countries and these cultures, it starts to make you a more well-rounded
Mm-hmm.
person. And that goes to back to what I said earlier, to you have more compassion, you're more
Mm-hmm.
considerate, you're more
Mm-hmm.
understanding of certain individuals that may not be from the same country as
Mm-hmm.
you, may not be the same
Yep.
ethnicity as you. And also, too, another tip I want to give is also before you go to these countries, maybe do your research, as said earlier, Fatima. Do your research and also try to like Google a restaurant that is geared to that country. So let's say if you're traveling to Jamaica, find a Jamaican restaurant. If you're not familiar with Jamaican food, go try some Jamaican food. I mean, they have the
Oh,
best
I
beef
love
patties
Jamaican
like ever.
food, girl. I go to Jamaica just to eat sometimes. Lord.
Listen, I haven't been to Jamaica yet. That's crazy. I have not been to Jamaica. It's just it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know why I haven't been. But every time I go back home to London, I feel like there's a spot in close to, I think it's out of Baker's Arms, getting towards, it's on the way to Hackney. But yes, on that main road. I know my Londoners gonna be like, Marian, you forgot the area. No, I didn't. But I know the bus 48 goes there because I used to ride it. But anyways, there's this restaurant called Crave, and they have like the best Jamaican food. Like as soon as I touch down in London, we're going straight there to go eat it. It's amazing. I love Jamaican food. But yeah, like also if you're going to Middle East, there's so many Middle Eastern restaurants you can go to. Um, I love Middle
Yeah.
Eastern food. I love Turkish food. I consider food. That's a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
segment. It's international food. So I
But
could talk about that all day. But yeah, try to find out, the delicacies of that country, and just kind of acclimate yourself. So when you get there, things are not like, oh, a big culture
yes,
shock. And then it becomes a cultural block, because that's the
yes.
thing, culture shock and cultural block. So like acclimate yourself to the culture before you get there, so it's not as hard of a
That's a
transition.
really good tip. I never really thought about that because one thing about it is if you do that, you'll find that it actually tastes way better over there than what you got over here. So,
Oh, it does.
and because for
Yes,
me, when I had Thai
exactly.
food in Thailand, I was like, oh,
Oh,
this is
girl.
not like I had it
Oh,
back home,
yeah.
or even just even something like Mexican food, girl. It's listen.
Uh-huh. Don't get me wrong. And let me add to that too. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad we're talking about this. I love living in America. I love the food. But when you go to these countries that
Mm-hmm.
you just mentioned, especially just outside of America, a lot of these countries do not genetically modify their
Yes,
foods. They're non-GMO. All their foods are organic. Like when I go to London, I can eat out every day and still lose weight and not gain weight because,
right.
of course, running after the bus and train. But also, everything is so much cleaner because they don't use those
Yes,
artificial flavorings and fillers in
different
their food.
regulations.
Especially when I go to Ghana. Yo, like if you ever like when you go to Africa, eat some fried chicken and let me know how it
I will
tastes.
definitely
If
let you
you, I
know.
do believe that this KFC at the country that you're going to be traveling to, go to the KFC and let me know how
Oh,
the
because
chicken tastes. Because it's organic. The KFC in Ghana is amazing.
I
Y'all
can
go to
attest
KFC
to
in Ghana.
that.
I don't eat KFC in America, but eat
I
it
can
in Ghana.
attest to that because,
Yo,
honey, I
it's
had a chicken.
yeah.
I had went to their versions of churches in Dubai, and
Oh,
I
girl.
was like, "Oh my god, this do not taste like our
hmm
churches back home, like at
No,
all, at all."
no, it doesn't. The oil that they even fried in, like everything, it's so
Oh,
pure. So you're gonna find out it's exactly when you start traveling to these countries that food is so
it
much
feels
better.
lighter on your
It's
body,
so
like it
much
doesn't
better.
feel as heavy
It
because
does.
you
It
are eating out
really
the whole
does.
time that you're there. And so you would
Yes.
notice, like,
See?
if I eat out for like a week straight here, I feel
Uh huh.
sluggish. I feel, like it's
Yes.
too much. But
Yeah.
when you eat out like a
Uh
week
huh.
there, it doesn't even feel the same a lot
hmm
of the time. You can taste the
Yes.
difference.
It
Yeah,
does
you
not.
can really taste the difference.
It does not. Everybody knows when I come back to London it's between Jamaican food
Well,
and Turkish,
honey,
like
when
all
you
day,
go to
every day.
Jamaica, you actually,
And
girl, and you actually try it there.
yeah, I know.
Listen,
I'm planning to go there soon. I don't know why I've not been. I've been to Dominica, I've been to Puerto Rico, just never made it to Jamaica. And I have so many friends that are
girl, you gotta
Jamaican.
go.
I
Yeah,
love
I love it.
Jamaica. I love Jamaica. Well, I love Jamaicans,
You
so
gotta
yeah,
go. I
definitely gonna
promise you,
go.
you're gonna have a dope experience. And that
I
just
can't
reminded me,
wait.
I don't know how I just thought about this, but this kind of goes with the culture and the traveler versus tourist kind of thing. So, one thing about it
Mm-hmm.
that I want to point out to the listeners who may be listening and they really don't understand the privileges that you have as an American to be able to have a U.S. passport and travel virtually to almost anywhere that you want to go, and understand that in other countries, they don't have always that same privilege just because they have a passport. Sometimes they will
Mm-hmm.
be denied getting to other
Mm-hmm.
countries, or it's a lot harder to get to other countries, or you got the harder to get
Mm-hmm.
visas to even just visit and take advantage
Mm-hmm.
of being able to just travel the world. And so I think what it goes with
Mm-hmm.
culture and being open-minded and understanding that that is a privilege too. Even just to have this
It
conversation right now that we're having is a privilege.
it it is so true, and I'm so glad that you brought that up because it is the number one. Uh, well, the number I'll say probably four desired passports that everybody would want to have if they want to be able to go to these countries are starting from the top is a
Mm-hmm.
British passport. Then you have American, Canadian, and
Mm-hmm.
then Australian. Uh, if you have those passports, you can go anywhere in the world. You don't need visas
Mm-hmm.
for most of the countries you go to. They let you right on in and
Mm-hmm.
right on out because of the democracy and diplomacy that has been established by
Mm-hmm.
these countries. So what you're saying is true. We are very fortunate, and if you are from these countries, take advantage of that because I know people, you know, um, that are African that don't have such passports, and it is harder for them to
Mm-hmm.
get visas. They're not always approved. They go
Yep.
through a lot, and then once they're able to obtain such, they take advantage of it. So take advantage of it. Of what you already have. Sometimes you don't realize what you have until
Exactly.
it's gone. You know, so take advantage of it. Take
You
advantage
know,
of it.
that is crazy. And this is why I like to get immersed into the cultures of where I'm at, and get to know the locals and talk to the locals and experience them and hear their point of view, because in Bali, I had a driver. Oh my God. I know for a fact at the end of the week, I was about to cry saying goodbye to him. Such a beautiful spirit.
Oh.
Such a beautiful spirit. And I
Mm,
know he talked about
mm,
how, his wife, he got a job in America to work here, but he could not get his
mm,
wife over there. And they were long distance
mm,
for like 2 or 3 years, and he kept trying to, her
mm,
visa just kept getting denied, kept getting denied, kept getting denied.
mm,
And it was just this,
mm,
it was so sad to hear him tell the story about how she like lost the baby
mm,
while he was, you know, gone. And that's when he was like, enough was enough. So
mm,
he moved back to Bali and started the
mm,
driving business. And it was just
mhm,
really heartbreaking. And he was just saying, like, even to just
mm,
visit was extremely hard,
mm,
because
mm,
Bali is still considered, even though they're mostly Hindu, but Indonesia is considered a
mhm,
Muslim country. And so,
I didn't even
yes.
know that.
So
Wow.
even though they practice Hinduism in Bali,
Mhm. Yeah, I
because
thought they
it's,
were Hindu.
yeah, but Indonesia, there's other parts of Indonesia that I learned there,
Now most.
that most of it, like in Jakarta and stuff, that's strictly Muslim. And so it was
That's
hard
good
for
to know.
him to get his wife over there. He had the hardest
Mm,
time, and even just to go visit. And his wife ended up going
wow.
to Dubai, because they are very welcoming of immigrants, if you, as long as you earn your keep and you
No,
work,
they are.
that kind of thing.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
immigrants in
and
Dubai.
so he really just opened my eyes to, like, wow, like, I
Mm,
really do have a privilege. It's not that easy for everyone, even to just visit. He had the hardest time. And it just really opened my
wow.
eyes to, like,
That's.
you really have a
Mm,
privilege to that you have a US passport that you can just stamp stamp stamp, wherever. And
mhm.
so that's
Mhm.
that's another thing that I definitely wanted to bring up regarding this. So,
Mhm. Wow, that's definitely a touching story, and I've experienced similar. just going to
Mm-hmm.
Qatar and seeing the immigrants there, and you could just tell that they're just there trying to get by,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make a living. And I had a similar situation in South Africa, and how immigrants that come from different African countries were treated there by
Mm-hmm.
the locals, because they thought they would come there to take all their
Mm.
jobs, and there's nothing
Sounds
left for
familiar.
them, and they want it to themselves, and that's exactly. But that all just goes back to apartheid and what they had to go through to declare their freedom before it became fair for them. So it goes back to just once your
Mm-hmm.
eyes are widened, you
So
just
much
start to have so much
compassion.
compassion for
To
the
hear the
world
story, like
so
to
much.
hear them talk about their experiences. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I like being a traveler as opposed to a tourist. That is why, because you
Mm-hmm.
just it's just
Exactly.
it's just experiences that you just cannot, all the money that you spend to prepare for these trips, those kind of things is just what makes it so much more worth it. It just makes it so worth it. It
It's so
really
much worth
does.
it. It
Well, I
is.
really appreciate the dialogue on that. I knew I could have this conversation with you because like I said, we are always on the same
Oh,
wavelength. So we're going to take a quick break.
yes.
And when we come back, we will be taking questions from our listeners. Welcome back. We're just going to get straight into these questions.
Hi, my name is Kristen LaRue, and I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I would like to know, is traveling outside of your home country educational and informative?
Okay, well, that's an interesting question considering the theme of the show, which is culture. Thanks, Kristen, for that answer. And so I would absolutely say, and I think we've talked about that and touched on that quite a bit throughout the whole show, is that of traveling outside of your home country is definitely informative and educational. And like I said before, I think I have received more education through my travels than I have sitting in a classroom. And so that's my take on that. What about you, Bella?
No, I definitely agree. Traveling outside of your home country, again, it just awakens you. The whole time
Mm-hmm.
woke
It does.
comes to life.
I never thought about it like that, but it does.
No, it literally comes to life. Like, you will learn so much about again, different cultures, but then you also learn different things that you can apply when
Yes.
you go back home, and you start to notice that certain characteristics about yourself will start to change because of what you have
Mm.
learned, and that's what makes you more well-rounded
You
as a
girl,
person.
you are so right. And now that you actually put that into words, that makes so much sense. And so I mean it really does. Like I find myself kind of
Yeah,
I've adjusted a lot of behaviors just through my travels or that's
yeah.
really a good way to put it. Okay. Well,
Hmm.
we have time for one more question.
This is Megan Sumners from Monroe, Louisiana. I just have one question. As far as packing, traveling internationally, what are your must haves when traveling? I don't want to overpack, but I don't want to underpack either.
Okay, well, thank you, Megan, for the question. As it pertains to packing and must haves to pack when it comes to traveling internationally, honestly, for me, it's tough because I am an overpacker and I have to work on that. But there are things that I definitely feel like you must have, and I think you need to research before you go to which country you're going to see if you need an adapter for one. Let's just start there to make sure you can charge your phone, curl
Yes,
your hair, whatever. I made that mistake before.
right.
Don't make that mistake. Find out if you need an adapter, like because our plugs
Uh-huh.
don't always work over in other countries. Like you may
No,
need an adapter to
they
charge your
don't.
phone. So for me, that's a must have.
Uh-huh.
And for me,
Uh-huh.
another thing that I would say as it pertains to packing is, like I said, I'm not the best because I'm an overpacker. I think I gotta have like 50 outfits, and I don't always get to them. I'm getting better, but I do feel like
Hmm.
you need to research the climate and where you're going and understand that, like, you know, a lot of the tropical places, you don't need to overpack because you may find that you're going to be lounging around in like your bathing suits most of the time and just throwing on cover ups and, you know, you depending on the excursions that you do. So my advice would be to, this is what I do. And Bella, you may do something different, but this is what I do. I go through my itinerary, my day by day, and just kind of get an idea of the things that I'm going to do and pack accordingly to that. And then I've gotten to where I may only do 1 or 2 extra outfits instead of overpacking and doing like 10 extra outfits, and then I never wear it. And then, you know, I don't even wear it on the trip. And so that's kind of what I've done. It's like, okay, if I'm going to be doing an excursion, riding horses that day, I'm going to pack this way. And then if after that we're going out to the club or some type of lounge that night, then I'll pack something for that. And so that's kind of how I do it, is just kind of go through my outfits based off my itinerary and my activities and just try to stick to that. And usually that works out pretty much, that works out pretty fine. What about you, girl?
Girl, so sorry, I was laughing because I have been traveling with you since
15? Yeah,
2014.
14.
15, 14?
Yeah.
Was it 14? Yeah, because after Memphis, we went
took
to
Phoenix,
Arizona for a training,
Vegas.
and then we went to Vegas. Yep, and you do
Yes,
overpack.
you know me.
I used to be an overpacker, but I've gotten better. But no, you got me beat.
That is so funny.
You got me beat. So I just had sorry, I was chuckling when you was explaining that because I just remember you and all that stuff. I'm like, girl, where are you going with these bags?
And we were only there for like a weekend.
Yes. But I'm so glad to hear that you made strides and you started to pack less.
Baby steps, girl, baby steps.
Right, baby steps, girl. You gotta crawl for your ball. But no, for me, I like to pack essential things that I know I'm gonna need. And yeah, I'm like you. I look through my itinerary, see what I'm doing. And also to try to, I think a lot of people, some people may tend to overpack shoes versus clothes. So try to, you know, have 3 or 4 outfits. If you're going on a long haul trip, if you're going on a trip that's gonna, you know, require you to take maybe 1 or 2 suitcases. Try to pack things that, if you have 5 outfits, maybe try to pack 1 shoe that goes with all 5 outfits. And you know, try to minimize the shoes. Pack essentials only. And then find out too, you know, on these trips where you have access to do laundry. This is the hotel you're staying in have a laundry service. If so, you know, you can get your clothes washed, or if they have laundry rooms, you can go wash your, you know, your essentials. And you know, re-well them. What else for
the
trips?
laundry services?
It
Because some places, some countries, it's super cheap to get your clothes washed.
No, it really is. It really is, especially when it's a third world countries. They definitely are very cheap to get those type of services versus, you know, in the United States or the Western side of the world. So yeah, definitely. And also for like your long haul trips, you want to be comfortable. I'm all about comfort. I mean, you have some people that, you know, want to stroll through the airport in some hills. Hey, more power to you, honey. But if you don't know how to navigate through airports, and if you don't know how the airports are structured, you will find out straight in those hills, they'll be off within like 0.2 seconds. So comfort over, you know, you can be comfortably chic. In the airport, and planes and airports tend to be very cold, so I like to always make sure I have a jacket on hand. And then when I pack, you know, I try to do the roll technique. And you know, after flying for so much and avoiding paying bag fees, I've got like a system down of how I pack. So the roll technique definitely works. I suggest everybody try that. And also for your long hauls, if you're going on flights to me that are 3 hours or more, I don't know if you notice when you're flying and your feet start getting swollen in your air. Exactly. Thank you. I was just about to say that. Compression socks, people. They're not for old people. Everybody should be wearing them, especially if you're on a flight going to Europe or Africa. Please wear compression socks, okay? They will change your life. When you get off the plane, you can pop those heels on and go do what you need to do, and your feet won't be swollen. Everybody gets swollen feet when you're up in the air because you're at a high altitude. like the blood in your body is not circulating like it needs to. That's why it's good to get up frequently and kind of just do like a little walk around the aisle. And make sure you have those socks on because they definitely do help. And make sure you have things that keep you happy, whether it's your games or your iPad. If you like to read, make sure you have something on hand that will make the trip more at ease for you.
Girl, you are exact. You're gonna have to teach me those tips the next time we travel, girl, because honey, I have gotten better
I
because
got
I
you.
definitely agree with you on the shoes thing. Like you will find that most of your outfits you can wear, like you can probably get away with only like 2 or 3 pair of shoes. And
Oh
then
yeah.
as far as the airport,
No,
you ain't
seriously.
gonna want to be taking those 20-hour flights in heels. I'm telling you right now, that is going to be
Nah.
so. If you're taking
Yeah.
a
No.
2-hour flight, or if I'm flying from Memphis to Atlanta, okay, I might go with some heels. But
Yeah.
other than that, it is not really necessary to wear heels to that distance. And I still feel like I like to be cute in the airport too, to an extent. I don't like to completely be a bum because you just never know. But at the same time, yes.
No, you never know who you're gonna run
Yeah,
into. I run into a lot of
especially going through
people
LAX,
at
you see
the
celebrities and stuff all the time, and in
oh,
Atlanta,
that and
exactly.
Atlanta.
And then
Yeah, so you gonna run into some celebrities, so you want to make sure
exactly,
you're looking
and
halfway
then not
decent.
only that, like like you said, navigating through the airports. You and I, we know Atlanta, especially Atlanta Airport. I know Atlanta Airport like the back of my hand. Like I know exactly. Like, oh, that's gonna definitely probably be flying out of
Yep.
the F gates, or this one is gonna be out of here. So I know I gotta take the train over here because I'm used to it. But if you're not really used
Yeah.
to that, you definitely want to be comfortable.
Yes.
You want to be dressed comfortable.
Right. And a lot of these, especially if you, it's so true. And those, LAX,
Mm-hmm.
Hartsfield, Atlanta, DFW, those are like your international, your
Mm-hmm.
big hub airports. And I think America has either 7 or 8 of
Yeah,
the international big hub
JFK.
airports. So,
Mm-hmm.
though, exactly. So, like with those airports, they're large. You want to make sure you're comfortable because there's going to be a lot
Yes.
of hustling and bustling, trying to get to gates, especially with like, Delta.
Yep.
Their hub is in Atlanta. So that Hartsville is
Mm-hmm.
predominantly their airport. Same thing with American Airlines. Headquarters
Dallas.
is in, Dallas. So they own
Mm-hmm.
they own DFW. So you might have to hustle and bustle to get to the next gate, especially if
Yeah.
you're making a connection. So you want to make sure you know how to navigate through the airport. I used to work at the airport. My first job was at the airport. So
You know.
it definitely opened my eyes. I was working at the airport since I was 16. So it kind of just gave me a deeper understanding of how to navigate through
Mm-hmm.
certain airports and the certain mechanisms
Yep.
that you can use to get to your gate. You can take a
Right.
train, you can take a bus, you can walk through the terminals. Like there's so many different ways. So
Yes,
just be
that
comfortable,
is
people.
a word, honey, because like you said, once you get if you're not used to the airport hustle and bustle, you definitely want to be comfortable. Oh my
No,
God. It was
seriously.
so nice chatting with you. Like you and I could talk all night. Like for the listeners that don't know, you and I, when we finally do get a
Girl,
chance to
yeah.
catch up, it's like 4-hour conversations. So we could do this all the
It
time, but
is. I
I'm
can't
glad
wait.
they kind of got to get a peek of kind of the way that the conversations that we have, and I hope that they are inspired, to want to start traveling more and understand culture, because this is what it is. Let's talk culture. And so, if you don't mind, Bella, will you let my lovely listeners know how you can be reached, your social handles, or however way you want them to reach you if they have questions or just want to connect with you?
Sure. So my Instagram page is I see Bella, and that's I.see.Bella, Bella. And you can reach me there if you have any questions or just want to know more about traveling. And I'd like to thank you, Fatima, for having me on the show. God bless you. This is your first episode, so I'm so proud of you. Sorry, I
No,
know
it's
it's not professional, guys,
fine.
but I gotta congratulate my sis. I'm so proud of you for doing this, and I'm just so excited to hear all the new episodes you're gonna be adding onto the show and
Oh,
all the seasons you're gonna do. So many blessings on your endeavor. Um, and I want to leave you guys with this word that from Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." So naturally, when you know better, you do better. So now that you do have the knowledge and understanding of culture, go out there and explore. Go out there and see, what you can learn and what's will be appeasing to you and new to you, and get out of that comfort zone. And don't be complacent. You have so much life to live. Take it day by day, but explore and try new things. I
Oh,
promise you, you will not regret it.
that is so dope. Like, I love that. That couldn't have been a more perfect
Oh,
way
God bless
to,
you.
do this. And as for me, I can be reached on my social handles. My personal page is Passports and Prada. I had to figure out another way to separate my business one from that. And girl, people was tagging the wrong page. So my personal page is at Passports and Prada. If you need to connect with me there, my official Instagram page for the podcast is at the Pretty Wanderer _. You can email me at the Pretty Wanderer channel at gmail.com, or you can look me up on Facebook as the Pretty Wanderer. So if you have questions, you want to leave comments about the show, whatever it is, please let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out. Now, as promised, before we go ahead and end this episode, I have a giveaway opportunity, Bella. If they have been following, you know about it. But if you haven't been following, there is a giveaway opportunity, and it will start after this episode airs. So for one lucky person this season, I am going to, like I said, I hope my job was for you to be inspired, and I hope that you are inspired. So I'm going to work one-on-one with someone on the process, all expenses paid, to get a passport if they do not have one. It's something that's been on my heart for a while.
So
It really
dope.
has been.
Listen,
Okay.
y'all better
It's
jump
one
on
of those
that.
expenses that people don't want to really pay for, but once you pay for it and you got it, it's like, okay, I'm good. But it's one of those things that things come up, bills you got, or do whatever, you know, it's one of those things. So I will honestly walk them through the process one by one as far as what paperwork they need, making sure they got their appointment set up, and all. I will cover the expenses for the passport. And so the rules to be entered into this is, of course, you had to have listened to the first episode. So yay, if you made it this far, you've made it. And then you must be following one of the social handles, whether it's the Pretty Wanderers Facebook or IG page. And you be subscribed to the podcast on your preferred platform. So you just need to be following me and following me on either Facebook or IG, or following me on whatever podcast platform you listen to, and follow me on that. I will post the giveaway details post today after this airs. And then what you would need to do is just share that to your page and tag me. Use the magic word #Wanderlust. And if you want to say something that you took away from today's episode, that would be awesome. It is a randomized system that will help me, that will make sure that the winner is selected randomly, and make sure that the rules are followed. So it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. You just need to be following me on those platforms, and then you will share the post that I will post today and reshare it onto your page. And if you took something away from the episode that you would like to share, put that in the caption. And on episode 2, airing May 8th, I will announce who the winner was, and we will go there. In the meantime, I'm going to post a link onto my page as well, that if you ever have questions that you want to ask and to be featured on the show, you click that link and you can leave a message for your question, and we will answer them on the show. And with that being said, I am going to end it. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen. I greatly appreciate it. I also want to give a special shout out to Chrisissippi, the podcaster over there at Empower Podcasting, and that's spelled EMPOW HER. Such an awesome podcast. I was actually featured on episode 8 there. So if you get a chance, check it out. Check out her podcast. It's really awesome. Have an awesome rest of your week and weekend, and you can catch me next week as I will drop episode 2.